Well, welcome everybody who is watching. My name's Phil. This is 100% LCFC. We are streaming live, we believe, out into Facebook land, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, all these places. It's Monday night, 8:30. This is the Fanzone Show. If you want to get your comments in, put them down on Facebook. Let us know. People already joining us live, which is brilliant. If you can like and share the video, retweet it wherever you're watching from. Jack McGuire, good evening to you. Thanks for watching. What do you think? There is so much things to put on here. I'm going to put a little agenda on the bottom of the screen. Loads and loads of things to talk about. Tom is going to be joining us live in the video soon. Baz Short, hi Baz, how are you? Let us know your views. Joanna Astley, how are you, Joanna? Jason Mills, good evening to you. Alex Green, hi. Nathan, good grief. Nathan straight in there. Appalling management, playing liability. Wes Morgan dropping the better Dragovic. Yeah, that's definitely a topic, isn't it? Mick Paget, hi Mick, how are you? Dominic, Plan B. Dominic is saying Plan B is to throw on as many attackers as possible and hope for the best. I'm not even sure we had that as a Plan B, if I'm honest, Dominic. Loads and loads to talk about. Stuff going on the bottom of the screen. I'll put your comments on the screen if you get them up there. Give us a tweet if you're over on Twitter or Periscope. Let us know all your views. Let's add Tom straight in. Here he comes. Tom Hoger joins us every Monday, the Fans View. Good evening, Tom. Can you hear me?
Good evening, Phil. Good evening, everyone.
How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Recovering from a very, very poor performance at the weekend.
Tom, it really was dull, I'm afraid, at the match on Saturday. Well, I say dull. There was some exciting moments. There was red card incidents with Harry Maguire, maybe, penalty decisions. There was 2 goals by them and 1 by us. It just felt a bit flat, Tom. Can you put your finger on it?
It was, for me, an end-of-season performance where teams already on the beach by the looks of it. I think we saw that with a few teams last season. West Brom were one, Stoke were another team, that magic 40-point mark, and then it seemed that the team stopped playing. And the performance last week at Brighton wasn't much better, but we got a result there. This week probably was a lot worse, but it just did not click from start to finish, and we didn't. Be honest, Newcastle got what they deserved. They looked more hungry for the ball when they wanted it, and they tried to create chances. Simple as that, really.
Yeah, Tom, I'm going to pull up a few people's comments. I can do that on screen here. Jason Mills says 4 wins in 15 was, a return of 14 points from a possible 45. The King Power has become a library. Jason, I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't know what's going on in the ground, but it does feel very quiet. But is that a reflection of what's going on the screen on in front of us at the stadium? Ali says Puel just leave and go, resign, worst appointment ever. Bring back Ranieri. Yeah, be careful what you wish for, because 12 months ago, pretty much to the day, Ranieri went. Fam saying here the KP is a library. That is true. We need some new songs. No one is ever in sync. Again, Tom, you sit up in the L block. I know we've talked briefly about the L block. It feels flat up. Those lads used to be bringing the atmosphere. Where I sit in the family stand, it used to be generated by the L block. It does feel a bit quiet up there. What's going on?
Don't know. I really couldn't put my finger on it. I think, if I'm honest with you, I think the poor performance on the pitch is putting a lot of the fans off and getting behind the team. What shouldn't really be like that. The lads should, we should be backing the lads from the start. But as you can imagine, frustration creeps in quite quickly at the weekend because of quite a few sideways balls, and wasn't really going at Newcastle like I thought we would from the start. But I think under Puel we've made too many slow starts to games, and suddenly the build up and everything, the expectation to go flying in like we were at the beginning of the last season. Even last season when we weren't doing so well, we were still going to teams from the start. So we had a trademark from doing was getting in teams, getting an early goal, and then making it difficult. At the moment, we're conceding silly goals. It's killing the atmosphere and it's making the fans not really get behind the lads.
Michael. Hi, Michael. We met on Saturday. It was good to meet you. Good to chat. Always love to chat to people. If you see us down at the match, myself, Tom, Lee, Chappie, Dipak, any of the guys, come say hello. We don't bite. We want to talk with you. Anyway, Michael says Newcastle wanted it more. I totally agree with you there, Michael. Newcastle wanted it more, Tom.
Spot on.
Can't say any more, can you?
No, they got their tactics right. It was set up deep. frustrated us, didn't really give us an opportunity to play. Then didn't really counter-attack to just put pressure on us at high up the pitch. If you look at the Maguire incident with Gale just put pressure on him. He was a lucky boy to stay on the pitch, as far as I'm concerned, Maguire. It's a red card offence. Raising the hand to the face is a red card offence. He probably should have walked for that. It was just the way they got in our faces, and we didn't really settle down at any point in that game. And the first goal is a big mistake by both centre half, not just Morgan, Maguire. The schoolboy defending. You never dive in. What do? They both dive in to try and block it. When you've got someone on the pitch who we all know is a very, very clever player in Shelby, he can make things happen. And he made it happen for the first goal because he was just clever. Simple as that. The second goal, again, it's not just Morgan's fault, it's Maguire's as well. If you're going to defend like that with a long ball, some will blame Casper. I won't blame Casper because he was caught out of no man's land to come or go. He didn't have an option because of the way he bounced on the pitch. But for me, if Morgan should have gone for that ball, whatever, Maguire has to cover. Casey missed it. It stops the little lob then as well. It was just 2 poor goals, and we never recovered from the situation.
No, at the match, Tom, a few things to pick up on there. I thought Harry Maguire was lucky. From the family stand, we could see that he had pushed his hand up there, and definitely on replays, I think it was a red card. I know quite a lot of Leicester fans didn't think it was a red card, but I think if you watch it back to the letter of the law, it has to be a red card. So we were lucky there. I think I blame Casper. Again, it was right the other end, so it was hard to tell what had happened. But after watching it back on Match of the Day a few times, I don't think it really was Casper's fault. I think he assumed Morgan was going to get rid of it, and then Maguire would cover it. One of the things we've been asking, Tom, put in the comments below, why is Morgan in the team at the moment? Bless him, I love him. He's been captain fantastic. But we had Dragovic. I believe we had 5 clean sheets on the spin when Dragovic was back there with Maguire, and he changes it, puts Morgan in, and we can't seem to keep a clean sheet now, Tom. Why? Would you drop Morgan? Can you drop Morgan for Saturday?
For me, it's nothing. It should be nothing to do who your captain is. It should go on form. At the period of time when we were playing well, we probably weren't picking up the results we should have picked up, but we were playing half decent football at the time. We were defending as a unit again, something we hadn't done for most of the season, with Dragovic and Maguire leading that. Fuchs or Chilwell, and then Simpson. It was working. But then suddenly Morgan becomes fit and he's chucked back in. What hope does that make of us signing Dragovic permanently? Because I don't see that happening now. Why would you want to come to a football club and sit on the bench? You've been here, you did well, you kept clean sheets, and you dropped because your captain's back. But if he was a captain that was with outstanding performances all season, you can understand. But his performance from Morgan had been shaky for most of the season before Dragovic got his chance, and we all seen what Dragovic could do.
Jamie Preston from the Fox's Arms did his show last night, 6:30, new slot for him for the next few weeks. Thanks, Jamie. Great show. Hello to you. Talking of holidays, Nicholas Taylor says, I think Leicester are on their summer holidays already. Do you think they are, Tom? I mean, Imtiaz, by the way, said earlier on, I put it on screen, Imtiaz, said, if only we'd got to one of those semi-finals and maybe a final, we'd have had a very different spin on this season, wouldn't we? And I think Imtiaz is right. If we were going for an FA Cup semi-final now, we'd still be saying, oh, well, we're 8th in the league and we've got the semi-final, but we haven't. Are we on a summer holidays, Tom?
I think if we'd got through to the League Cup final and won it, I think we'd probably been where we are now, trying to run the season down and see it out with the best we could. I think if you'd said, like you're saying, in the FA Cup final, we probably would have been still going at it, try and keep a bit of momentum going into a semi-final. But ifs and buts don't make a season for me, and I think the performances are probably the last couple have been more frustrating out of the season so far. But it's always going to be ifs and buts, and that's what football's about, and that's what opinions are about. But for me, Claude made mistakes on those 2 cup games with the team selection for Man City, because I think at the 2 cups, that was our best chance of winning silverware, because if you look at the semi-final draw, we would have got Bristol City, and then you got Arsenal. And Arsenal at the time, as Man City proved, were shaky as anything, and we probably would have had a really good chance of picking up some silverware. The FA Cup game was always going to be difficult against Chelsea with the team they put out. They put a strong team out. So did we, in fact. But the changes what he made would never worked, and the changes he made eventually, what were too late to bring on Okazaki, we didn't seem to settle again after that. Once we scored the goal, it was very much Chelsea just bombarded us.
Yeah, I've Nathan saying here, it's backwards football, it's sideways football, it's boring football, and it's not acceptable. We are going to talk about Claude Puel. There's a lot of people starting to already mutter and grumble about whether Claude Puel is the right guy to take us forward. Go on, Tom, take it away. What do you think?
I can see the points of the fans. Firstly, it isn't the most exciting football at the moment for me, but I also have to look at what Claude's done since he's come into the football club. We were second bottom of the league. We were going down quicker than the Titanic had under Shakespeare. It's simple as that. We were not staying up. It had nothing to do with the start we had. Shakespeare was not tactically good enough to be a manager in the Premier League. It's simple. You could just tell by the schoolboy's mistakes he was making. Arsenal away, you don't turn around and take off a central midfielder when you're 3-2 up with 8 minutes to go and bring on Iheanacho. Made no sense. We lost the game because of that. Other games are where we lost because he's tactically made wrong changes. So we were going down. The club made a good appointment for me because it was a different way to go than just a simple manager or one off the merry-go-round of Allardyce, Hughes, Pardew. The names roll off. We couldn't keep going down that route. So we went for someone who'd done quite well in France, who'd done a great job at Southampton for one season, but he never got time to build a team. Let him build something. At the moment, he hasn't got the players to play the way he wants to play. That is quick, moving the ball around football. But at the moment, we haven't got the players to do that. We've got a defence who don't really want to use the ball. So he will probably have to bring in a few defenders who can move the ball better, who can bomb up the wings, what he did at Southampton with their two fullbacks. He'll probably bring a playmaker in the middle of the park who can move the ball around, but help Vardy with the goal-scoring abilities. We're going to lose Mahrez in the summer, so you're going to have to replace that kind of talent in the team. I think you've got to give Puel a chance now. I'm not going to say sack him because I don't think that's the way forward. Sacking managers every year is not a way to build a football club. People talk about Rafa Benitez. He's built his team. Why would he leave Newcastle 57,000 every week to come to Leicester? Yeah. It's not going to happen. He's built a football club there. You've got to let Puel have the summer and 10 games. I always say give them the first 10 games of the season to see where they're at then. It's a turning point. 10 games in, it's 28 to go. You then know where you're going to be pushing for mid-table, a European place if you want to be, or you're fighting relegation again. I just think we're too early to start pulling the trigger and sacking another manager.
Well, Tom, I'm going to read through that. Got loads and loads of people watching, loads of comments coming in here. Joanna says, she's talking about Claude Puel, let him spend money on good players in the summer and give him till Christmas. Ali says, I'd rather get relegated than hire Puel. I'm sure you wouldn't rather get relegated. Michael saying, we always seem to be chasing games at the King Power, starting poorly. I agree with that. Imtiaz says, Claude Puel, I think, needs to get harsh with the players. He's being too much of a Mr. Nice Guy. Ian Widdowson says the owners can't have been pleased with the effort they saw on Saturday. Mick Paget saying, if Vardy is the first name on the team sheet, then the second should be Okazaki. Graham Ball saying, it's table football, just spin the bar. Tom, lots of Huth made Morgan, this is Steve Chapman, Huth made Morgan look good in the Great Escape season. Then Kante came in and he cleared everything up for him right from the first game of the season when he was ball watching again. Morgan just isn't good enough. I don't like to be critical of Morgan, but he definitely was highly involved in both of the goals for Newcastle on Saturday. Let's switch things to the other end. Felt a bit sorry again for Jamie Vardy. Crikey Riley, we're playing at home. We've got 32,000 or 30-odd thousand Leicester fans there. We're not in any danger of relegation. We should have the shackles off us, shouldn't we? We've got Jamie Vardy, Riyad Mahrez, Diabate, Mark Albrighton, Demarai Gray. We've got an attacking team, and yet we didn't get a shot on target, I believe, until about the 82nd minute, Tom.
We didn't get a shot on target.
Shocking. Yeah, and that was a tap in from a yard with no shots. It was dull.
Like I said, at the moment, it's hard. He's trying to get this football philosophy across of how to play. And if we don't move the ball quick enough, teams sit deep, make it hard for us to get in behind. What we're not going to be able to do, we've got to look for more cleverer balls. The problem was on Saturday, my opinion is you lost one of your best playmakers in Ibora before half time. You keep him on the pitch, it makes a difference. Chowdhury came on, and don't get me wrong, Chowdhury was brilliant on Saturday when he came on. He did.
Well, I didn't think Ibora was very good, Tom, to be fair. I thought he was having a shocking 30 minutes, Ibora. And I'm a big fan of his. But
it probably wasn't his best game, but you know what he can do. He can make something happen still. Chowdhury came on, don't get me wrong, he played well. But
I thought he did well, Chowdhury,
He just sat too deep.
That's his style, though, I believe, isn't it? To sit. He is a very defensive midfielder.
Yeah, but they're sitting deep and then they're sitting in the middle of the back four. And if you're sitting in the back four, then you're suddenly playing three centre halves. And at a point when you're losing a game, you've got to be pushing on and being a bit more, creative at that point and go, gun ho in some ways when we're 2-1 down, than just still sitting there. But it's going to be difficult now with the options we've got. You really have got Silva in Diddy when he comes back and Chowdhury at the moment, because I don't think King's got a recall in his contract.
Well, that was one of the questions, Tom, we've been asking. Can we or should we recall Andy? That's idiotic, though, isn't it? That's absolutely idiotic if we haven't got recalls on all the players we've loaned out, Tom.
It isn't. It isn't. I think you've got to look at it at the point in time. We had, James, Ibora and Diddy, Silva and Chowdhury as your, 5 midfielders. King was a 6th choice. To then suddenly lose James and Diddy and Ibora in 2 games, it's unlucky. It's just unlucky. Yeah, you're right. It's idiotic not to have a recall policy in some of the contracts. But I suppose for Kingy, it was, I want to go and play football. I don't want to be recalled. Maybe I don't want to be called to come and sit on the bench for you. I want to go and play. And do you know what? He's playing week in, week out for Swansea now. So fair play to the bloke.
Yeah, no, good play. I mean, we'll talk about who's going to play midfield on Saturday. I don't think there's much choices. Lewis Brown says here, and Lewis, I am going to totally disagree with you, but that's fine. I'm interested to see what Tom says. Lewis says there's no creativity in midfield, and that's why Silva's been shocking. Well, Tom, I'm going to ask you, because I actually thought Silva had a very good game on Saturday. I thought he was creative. He slung some very nice passes through. In fact, he put through a beautiful ball through for Riyad Mahrez. That was the big penalty decision, whether it was or it wasn't. Again, I was way, way, way the other end in the family stand, and everybody around us was screaming that it was a penalty. I wasn't convinced it was, but I'm 100 yards away. But you could tell from the reaction of the cop that it looked like it was, Tom. So I think Silva has been creative. I thought that was his best game for Leicester. We gave him man of the match.
I felt it was his best game. I think he was the best player on the park by a country mile. His feet, moving it sort of foot, his ball, playing the ball around the park. Do you know what? It's, for me at the moment, with every Leicester fan, is they need a scapegoat after every single game. And it's getting boring now. It was Kingy. It was James. It's Chilwell. Silva.
Well, tonight it's Morgan, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Morgan. At the moment, I understand when people have a bad game, they're going to get criticised. And you know what? Fair play, we're all allowed to have an opinion. But give the bloke a chance. He didn't play for 6 months because of nothing he did. He's then coming in and out of the team. If there's one thing the manager's probably getting wrong doing, it's chopping the change in the team too much. But when he has played, he hasn't looked a bad little player. But you've got to give this bloke a chance. You're coming into... I mean, I agree with what Alex Ferguson said. Alex Ferguson used to say, he used to never sign foreign players in January because they take 6 months to settle. Now, you could say, well, we signed him into the summer, but he hasn't played until January. You've got to give him a chance to get used to the quickness of the league. And I think you saw on Saturday, he is getting better now with the ball at his feet, understanding he hasn't got the time of the ball he had at Sporting to stroke it round the park and look up and take a touch. He knows that he's got to be a lot quicker with his movement, a lot quicker with his vision. And the ball for Mahrez penalty shot, it was absolutely sublime. It was
a great ball.
It was to a point where he was running onto it. He didn't have to speed up. He didn't need to slow down. Those kind of things don't make you, it shows you what kind of player he is. He's a very good technical little player. You've just got to give him time to get fit. And we've got to somehow manage to put the 3 of them in the team next season. Quite simple if Ibora, Sylvan and Diddy. If you can do that, I think we can make something happen.
A few comments here. Steve Chapman, I'm going to come to you in a minute because I want to ask Tom about that. Stephen Phillips saying, play Silva in central midfield, needs to be more attacking than defensive. Jason Mills says, Is the name Claude Puel a name that is going to attract quality players? It's all right saying give him the transfer window, but who would want to sign for us if Claude Puel rather than maybe a Roberto Mancini? Interesting thoughts from Jason.
Can I just pick up on that?
Yes, you can, Tom. Go for it.
That question to any of 15 football clubs in the Premier League. Does it really make a difference what manager you have? It doesn't to me, because it's about what money you've got to be able to go and make an offer first. It's then if the player wants to come to the football club. The whole point of having a great manager is that you have to be one of the top 6 teams. For the rest of us, it's fighting out for those good players who are coming through who could make a difference to your squad or to the first team every season. So, from 8th down, we're all fighting for the same kind of players to make sure we're all staying in the Premier League from the first. And then it's about who can get that extra bit of quality in to come and do it. I don't see the whole manager situation all the time makes a big difference. I really don't. I think that this whole thing is what manager can attract a player. We're not going to be able to attract the big name players. We're not Liverpool. We haven't got Klopp. We haven't got Mancini. We haven't got, Guardiola. If you look at all the other managers in the league, does Sam Allardyce attract big name players? Not really. Does Mark Hughes now at Southampton, is he going to attract a big name player because his name Mark Hughes? You could say he might do. But again, it's all about what money we have to spend. It's simple as that now. Football's about money, not about who manages.
Well, no, and I would agree. If you're a football player and you sign for a team nowadays, Tom, you've got to almost expect that the manager's got every chance of not being there in a few months' time. I think Claude Puel's one of the he's sort of middle range serving managers in the Premier League after being at Leicester for that period. I think he's about the 8th longest serving one or something. There's been that many changes. Here's Steve Chapman's comment, Tom, that I wanted to ask you about, because Steve said something that I said after the match on Saturday. I was feeling really depressed, really fed up. You know what it's like when you've lost a game like that. It's the end of the world. But I said, do you know what? If we carry on playing like that, Jamie Vardy's not going to want to stick around at the end of the season. He's scored 20 goals, or he will have scored 20 goals at the end of this season. There'll be clubs who fancy having Jamie Vardy, and at 31, I almost wouldn't blame him if he went to a different club. Steve Chapman says, do you think, guys, that Vardy will want to stay with us with the football he's playing? I think he'll want to go. Tom, there's going to be a lot of players coming and going in the summer, isn't there? And nobody would want to see Jamie Vardy go because you don't replace a 20-goal-a-season guy. Do you think Steve's got a point?
I think he has a point in one way, but the only way I see him going is to play for European football. And I can't see anyone in the top 6 now taking a pun on him or giving him the money. We're still probably going to want 30-odd million for him. And I can't see Liverpool, Arsenal, anyone in that kind of calibre giving us £30 million for Jamie Vardy at 31 years of old. You don't know what you get with that age. You know what I mean? You could have one bad injury and that's done. One bad hamstring. But
there's a lot of teams, Tom, in the Champions League from other leagues. You think of teams in the French league like Monaco. I mean, who wouldn't fancy a season or two in somewhere like Monaco or Seville? Yeah. He might fancy it. I hope he doesn't.
He's loyal to the club now. I think he really is. I think if he wanted to go, he would have gone when the Arsenal came in for him. That was his big chance, and he didn't want to go. I think Jamie's now loyal to the club that gave him the chance to prove himself at the top, the big stage. And I think he wants to see. I think personally he'll want to see his time out at Leicester and finish off in style, try and help us push back up the league.
Don saying, hi Don, watching from America, chatting as 100% because he's one of the admin guys. He says, for the amount of possession, we've sacrificed shots and it's been quite disappointing. Yeah, I think you got a point there. Lewis Brown says, I think we would be good in a 3, but in a 2 he doesn't do enough off the ball for me. I think you talk about Silva there, Lewis. Mick saying, let's not get too down. We are 8th in probably the hardest league in the world. I agree. And the club's been going 130 something years, and probably 120 something of those years we haven't been anywhere near 8th. So let's not be too downhearted, maybe. Jack Maguire, are you Harry's younger brother, Jack? Let us know. Says, I think the criticism on Casper is a bit harsh. Yeah, I probably agree, because the week before Brighton he was the hero. So, a little bit harsh.
Casper's taken a lot of criticism this season, and do you know what? He has made a few mistakes, but before this season, can you criticise him really for any season before that? You can't. The amount of saves he made in the Championship when we won the Championship, the amount of saves when we won the league he made, the amount of saves, when we haven't won stuff, he's always had a good season. He's always been up there for Player of the Season. This season, do you know what? He's made a few mistakes and it's cost us. But like you said, last week at Brighton, he saved a penalty and we win 2-0. Look, the Casper is always going to be a hit and miss because he isn't the greatest at coming out and collecting across. But one thing we all know what we get with Casper is he can do one-on-ones, he can save shots. Do you know what? I just think it's a bit harsh. Everyone's jumped on this Casper got to go, Casper this. You tell me a better keeper that we can go and sign. There's a question, Trevor. You think we can go and spend money on a goalkeeper? Who are we going to get? Because I don't see the club have the money to go and buy all these players in the summer everyone keeps wanting. And if you've got a good goalkeeper who's probably in the top 6 in the Premiership, and I think he is probably in the top 6, I don't know who else you'd have in there at the moment who you could go and buy.
A few good comments coming here. Jack saying Vardy at his age, maybe he's conserving some of his energy during his matches, maybe. Steve Gibson saying Vardy's 31, football is a business. Next season he'll be only worth 10 million. He could go now for 20 million. Don just put a comment on there, which I quite agree with Don. Don't forget, Vardy is going to go to the World Cup, the world stage. If he has who knows if Harry Kane will be fit or not fit because he is a bit injury prone. So, Nathan is saying Vardy will be off with Mahrez pre-season money talks. Can't be happy about playing this dross football. David says, would Vardy go to Everton? I've got to be fair. I even said that on Saturday. I said somebody like Everton could come in and offer him something decent, and he might go, well, do you know what? I'll have a switch. Ali Khan says, let's win the league again. I think that's part of the frustration. We laugh, but some of us now, Tom, have got these expectations that we could. Frustration is we could get into Europe. We should be better than Burnley. We could be matching Arsenal. We really could have been doing this. Could have been gunning for a 7th. Could have been gunning for 6th. And yet the home form, the Swansea draw, the Stoke draw, the Bournemouth draw, they've all been pretty boring. We've gone behind in most of them. Being beaten by the Newcastle, Tom. I'm ranting, sorry.
No, I was going to say, if and buts are fantastic. And we could have been doing this and we couldn't have done that. But the biggest mistake the club made, and I will never forget what the club made, the biggest mistake, was after winning the league, we didn't go out and buy quality Premiership proven players to help us in the Champions League, what we had that offer to make them, or go and buy these foreign players who are top draw foreign players. We didn't do it. We went and signed no men. We went and signed Musa. No one really had heard much about that. He was quick. We went and signed Slimani. That yes, he scored goals in the Portuguese league, but this ain't the Premiership. We had the opportunity to, put ourselves as one of the top 6 teams in the Premier League for me, with the money we had after winning the Premiership and with the offer of Champions League football to build and get European football for most seasons. We blew it. We blew it as a club with the recruitment policy. Simple as that. The only thing that came out of that season was we went and signed a great up-and-coming Ndidi, and he's proven that was probably the best sign out of all that period of time.
Yeah, Imtiaz says overhaul is needed this summer. I think it is going to be a bit of an overhaul, which is probably why I would say stick with Puel and see what happens. Joanna, you've been putting loads of great comments in. They're quite long-winded, but Joanna's saying we are 8th in the Premier League. From only being promoted 4 years ago, that's not bad. To quote those fans, a cold, rainy night at Yeovil. So, yeah, to here is a step up. We just need the passion back and the players, and it will come good again. Tom, my lad who I went with on Saturday. He's 16, so he's seen it all. He started following us when we went down to League One. So he's not a plastic fan. He's a young lad. But he actually said to me, naive youngster, said, do you know what, Dad? I think I prefer watching us in a relegation battle in the Premier League than watching us what we've just done against Newcastle, Stoke, Swansea and Bournemouth. Has he got a point? Do Leicester fans like it either all glory at the top or desperation at the bottom? Is it just an end of season, nothing much to play for, boring us?
I think for me, some of our fans will get carried away from where we should be in realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've watched us in the Premiership under O'Neill, and then I've watched us go all the way to League One and come all the way back again. I watched some great, exciting football in League One to win that. I watched some great, exciting football in the Championship. I've also wanted to be mid-table in the Championship and mid-table in the Premier League. And for me, if you're in the Premier League, you're in the Premier League. It's the best league in the world to be in. We're not every season going to be up there fighting for it. It doesn't work like that. It's all about who you sign in each transfer windows. But for me, where the club is at the moment with the players, we're probably about right. I think 8th. Look, you've got to credit a team like Burnley. They signed Premiership players who knew the league. I'm going to say it now. The day Chris Wood left Leicester City, said he would come back to haunt us. And he is, because he's a goal scorer. We never gave him a chance. There's too many players we let go who never get a chance at this football club to prove themselves. And for me, we are 8th in the Premier League, and that's probably where we should be. If I'm honest, if other teams have picked up results, we'd be a little bit lower, and I still would say the same thing. So 8th this season, if we can finish there, because I don't see us catching Burnley now. It'd be great if we can, but I don't see it happening. Not a bad season. 2 quarter-finals and 8th. I think you've got to have that.
Jack's saying, I'm sorry we're overrunning everybody. We're meant to finish at 9, but there's so much to talk about. Tom, we're probably not going to get on to Burnley today. Perhaps we'll do another live one later this week to talk about it if you're around. Jack's saying, if we were playing decent football and still at 8th in the league, I'd guarantee people wouldn't be frustrated. But its fact is that week in, week out, we're watching boring, gutless football, and that's where the frustration is born from. I'm not saying Jack's right, but I think Jack probably summed up the mood for a lot of people there, that it is just a bit. I mean, 84 minutes to be at home, Tom, and not see a shot on target. And I think we only had 1 or 2 shots off target before then as well. I remember the first shot off target. I can remember it because it was Diabate in about the 32nd minute, and it went, ran 10 yards wide.
I think there is a lot of frustration around the football club, but I think we need to understand as fans that it's always going to happen when you bring a new manager in who's trying to completely overhaul how we play. And I think in some ways he's right to do what he's doing. Yes, it's frustration, it's boring at times. But I think you've got to stand the day of us just sitting back and counter-attacking. We couldn't do because we got found out last season. The teams literally just sat deeper than we sat deep. And then went, all right, if you're going to counter-attack, we'll just sit completely deep. You'll have no room for Vardy or Mahrez to make anything happen. And what happened? We got found out. This season, beginning of the season, was exactly the same with tactics. 4-4-2, let's sit deep. Didn't work. Claude came in, opened us up a bit. Yeah, we were winning games 3-2 at Newcastle away. And was beating Southampton 4-1 because we were playing open football where Southampton had a few chances. We beat Tottenham at home 2-0. This is a Tottenham team who are now 3rd in the league. It's just going to take time. If, and I say it is an if, because I don't know these things. I can't see the future. If he can bring the players in he wants to bring in and move the ball quicker, I think you'll see where the manager's going with it. And I think you'll find that Vardy will get a lot more chances. Read what you said about Vardy earlier. One person got it spot on. Vardy even being told by the manager, stop running around like a headless chicken, making runs what you don't need to be making all the time.
Yeah.
Runs, make the better runs. You'll get more chances. And I think if you look at it, 5 goals in 9 games, considering how poor we played, we are still creating chances for him. It's quite simple. It's just going to take time. And I think the fans are going to either sit there, lump it, and just get on with it for the time being and see where we're at 10 games into next season now.
Tom, I'm going to say thanks a lot for joining us. I'm going to read out a few comments to wrap this up. Hopefully, I'll be able to persuade you to join us to do some Burnley preview before Saturday, because we haven't touched on it really much today because there's been so many other things to talk about. So thanks, Tom, for joining us. Last few comments from everybody. If you could all like and share the video wherever you're watching, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. We have been streaming on those and been getting loads of comments. That's great. Really appreciate all that. So if you can like and share, it'd be great. We're here every Monday at 8:30. We're adding into 100% LCFC on more and more channels for you for next season. Last few comments here. Sam Perkins says it could be worse. We could have had Pardew in charge. David Gavin says, have we got complacent now? We are safe. Andy says, sometimes it looks like they were just going through the motions. I think, Andy, you've probably summed up some of it. So for me, Phil, 100% LCFC, thanks for joining the show. Like and share the video. Thanks for Tom for joining us. Thanks for everybody who's put a comment in on all the different channels. Try to read out as many as I can. It's been literally hundreds and hundreds. We'll see you all soon.